Remember double world champion Julian Alaphilippe? Yes, the man who almost won the 2019 Tour de France after a Martian performance in the mountains and time trials of that bizarre edition of the Grand Boucle. Or, if you prefer to remember him from his failures, the guy who lost to Liège-Bastogne-Liège by raising his arms too early. In those years, Lulu ate at the table of the greats, just as Wout Van Aert or Mathieu Van der Poel do today. But in the last 2 seasons, his performances have been absolutely disappointing, generating criticism wherever he soils the rainbow jersey of the world champion or even that of the Soudal Quick-Step team with his poor results. And it was precisely these performances that caused his boss during his 10 years as a pro, the legendary Patrick Lefevere, to explain that Alaphilippe's problem has been since he signed a contract renewal with his team in 2021, signing a contract under which he earns €2.3 million per year, just €500,000 less than the team's star rider and also double world champion, Remco Evenepoel. Speaking to Umo magazine, Lefevere said that Alaphilippe's main problem has been to relax too much after signing that multi-million-dollar contract, believing that with talent alone he would be able to win championships wherever he went, as in previous years. However, Lefevere has now gone further and considers 2 aspects which have clearly harmed his favourite French cyclist, indicating that this sudden relaxation was linked to his alcoholism between 2021 and 2022, as well as his relationship with the cyclist, influencer, model, commentator, former girlfriend of cyclists, as well as the mother of his son, Marion Rousse. He hints that this beautiful millionaire alpha female is little more than a snake, handling and manipulating Julian like a puppet and leading him down the path of partying and drinking until the wee small hours of the morning. But what is behind Lefevere's statements? Let's analyse this whole situation by travelling back in time, specifically 30 years in the past. Patrick Lefevere has been the patron saint of some absolutely crazy cyclists for decades. Remember that he was already the director of the MG team when the abusive, legendary whoremonger Mario Cipollini left the team in the middle of the Tour de France to go to dinner with a Spanish hostess and show her his collection of 400 suits on a hot summer night. He's also had to deal with real drug addicts, like the whoremonger Frank Vandenbroucke, or the guy who slept with a teenage girl, evidently more hair on his balls than on his head, Tom Boonen. He's also had to put up with some real players, like the drug addict gangster Juan Miguel Mercado, or legendary dopers like Richard Virenque, Johan Museo, Andrei Kashishkin, or Carlos Barredo. Throughout his career as a director, he has seen it all. And yet in those days he did not criticize so harshly the lifestyles of these cyclists, and even had a paternalistic attitude when he publicly defended the drug addict and lover of minors Tom Boonen in a less woke society, one less critical of macho men like the old Lefevere. However, in recent years, he has even publicly humiliated several of his athletes, such as Sam Bennett or Mark Cavendish, and, as with Julian Alaphilippe, all of whom were finishing their contracts the same year that the Quick-Step boss was spouting his emphatic and aggressive words in his favourite fetish media. In other words, when Lefevere speaks ill of any of his cyclists, it's because he already knows that he is not going to renew their contract, and also because he is very disappointed with them. Why didn't he speak ill of all the aforementioned cyclists who had done far worse things than Alaphilippe had done? For one reason only: lousy sporting performance. Patrick Lefevere couldn't have cared less. He wouldn't have batted an eyelid if the double world champion was a drunkard, spending all day with his wife fooling around, as long as he continued to perform on the bike and didn't limit himself to winning stages in the Criterium Dauphiné or village races that nobody remembers. He even allowed Boonen's retirement to make a fool of himself on stage like a junkie at a rave party. If Alaphilippe was even close to the guy who, with the rainbow jersey, was able to win Flèche Wallonne and a stage of the Tour de France, we are convinced that Lefevere would not have raised his voice against his rider. If they even had pictures together drinking wine as good old Lefevere loves. In other words, Patrick, a consummate alcoholic for decades, does not intend to give lessons to Julian about what he should drink and when he should drink or not. Everything is a direct message to the mother of his son and to the fans, telling them that Alaphilippe is a soft little man, unable to focus on his sporting career once he signed a contract guaranteeing him more than €2 million a year. And that is largely the fault of his girlfriend. The same girlfriend who allows her son's father to be seen in public drunk in a Spanish soccer stadium. A woman who spends her life in Andorra at full throttle partying with YouTubers and other athletes who enjoy not paying taxes in their home country. At the same time, Lefevere is not a kid who needs to show a family-friendly profile to get sponsors, because he has a track record of more than 30 years as a sports director, and that supports his value as a patron. And rather like this channel, he knows that although no sponsor wants him for the statements, he doesn't give a damn about being labelled as a loudmouth dinosaur. He will get together with anyone to stay in cycling. The problem is that these millionaire athletes are not used to people from their own world putting them in their place and bringing them down from the altar where sponsors and press place them, making it seem that a professional cyclist can't get drunk from time to time, forgetting that the great legends of the sport often drank constantly, people like Fausto Coppi or Jan Ulrich or Bradley Wiggins. But the first person to enter the fray was precisely Marion Rousse. Alaphilippe's graceful, fragrant partner immediately took to Twitter to attack the aging boss of the Milano Sanremo winner, with a message in which she claimed that she kept Alaphilippe totally sober because they get up every morning to take care of their young child. So far, so good. But when you're caught lying in a defense tweet, Marion, perhaps you need to take it easy on the gas pedal. She claims that she has never drunk alcohol, when there are photographs with her ex-husband Tony Galopin in festive settings, glass in hand. You may not drink now, my dear. I'm not saying you do, I'm not saying you don't. But Marion, you liked the bottle too. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you separate it from your professional life. At least she got old Lefevere to agree that his current rider Alaphilippe doesn't drink alcohol, especially since he threatened to kick him off the team if he was caught drunk again. But then came the wife of Lefevere's great friend and Alaphilippe's former teammate, the legendary Mr. Kidneys, Philippe Gilbert. She came to the old director's defense and attacked the French couple who ride in Andorra. Bettina Gilbert appeared in a post on Instagram, assuring that what Lefevere said was something that everyone in the Quick-Step stable was thinking, and that Marion Rousse must have been keeping her mouth shut, since she knows firsthand that she's the one who goes around bad-mouthing other teammates and cyclists behind the Eurosport cameras. It's also served to get some people on Alaphilippe's side, such as the president of the Professional Cyclists Association, Adam Hansen, the former cyclist meme who drank his glasses of beer at work while completing his ridiculous goals of consecutive Grand Tours to get him talked about in the media. He claims that a boss can't mess around with one of his employees in a public way like that, poor guy. This guy didn't live through Cyril Guimard insulting Lucien Van Impe to win a Tour, or Manolo Saez shitting on his riders' mothers in order to beat Lance Armstrong's US Postal in the toughest team time trials in history. Our opinion is this: Julian, drink what you want. You've earned it. But if you make a fool of yourself on the bike on the road, don't let your wife go crying on social networks if you're criticised. You earn €2 million a year. There's a reason for it. It's so that you have to perform. You can combine alcohol and family life and performance on the bike. Look, do you think Lance Armstrong drank only water at Matthew McConaughey's parties? Oh, chin chin, old boy. Now cheer up.